Welcome to Awasan Wire. Today we're talking about Saifuddin Abdullah's recent statements regarding his party chairman, Muhyiddin Yassin, and a scandal that refuses to fade. Okay, so let's get into this. What we're looking at here is, well, it's quite something. A really senior figure in Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia.
Major party, yeah.
Going public, basically calling out his own chairman. And not just any chairman, but the former Prime Minister, Muhyiddin Yassin.
Exactly. It's not something you see every day, especially not this publicly.
So our task today is really to understand, why this internal pressure cooker finally blew, and what does this mean for the party's image, its credibility?
Well, the person making the waves is Saifuddin Abdullah. He's on the Supreme Council, so he's high up. And he's asking Muhyiddin Yassin point blank, what's the story with your son-in-law, Muhammad Adlan?
Right. Has he fled the country? Is he coming back?
That's the question. And for you listening, the real issue here is, can Muhyiddin and by extension the party keep silent on this? Especially when it seems to be dragging the whole party's name through the mud.
Yeah, that seems to be Saifuddin's point. He's the member of parliament for Indira Makota. He's been around. He's essentially saying, look, we need answers. This isn't some private request. It feels like a public challenge.
It absolutely is. And the reason it's so explosive is because of what Adlan's actually wanted for.
What are the specifics there?
Well, Muhammad Adlan, he's 49, and he's wanted by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC.
Okay.
And it's in connection with a criminal breach of trust case, CBT. That's serious business under Malaysian law.
Right. It's not a minor thing. Criminal breach of trust, especially if it involves significant amounts, that's top priority for the MACC, isn't it?
Definitely. And the seriousness of that alleged crime is what makes Muhyiddin's silence, so politically difficult for Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia right now.
And it probably doesn't help that the stories about Adlan's life overseas, they paint a picture that's, let's say, not one of someone hiding in fear.
Not at all. Reports suggest he's been on the run for, over 2 years now?
2 years, yeah.
But apparently living quite lavishly, traveling frequently, moving between countries in the Middle East. It doesn't exactly sound like someone keeping a low profile.
It really doesn't. And that image, contrasted with being wanted by the authorities back home, it just fuels the whole thing.
Precisely. It creates this perception that he's somehow untouchable, which, fairly or unfairly, reflects back on his family connections.
And Saifuddin's frustration, it seems, isn't new. He mentioned this has been brought up before.
Repeatedly, according to him. He even specifically mentioned Muhyiddin's debate during the recent budget session in Parliament.
Wow, in Parliament itself.
Yes. The issue was raised, apparently, and nothing. No real answer, no clarification from the former Prime Minister.
So the silence strategy, if that's what it was, it doesn't seem to be working.
It seems not,
Okay.
because the issue itself isn't going away. We're talking over 2 years since this whole thing started. The timeline is pretty specific, too. Adlan reportedly left Malaysia, flew to New Zealand on May 17th, 2023.
May 17th.
Okay.
And wasn't there someone else involved shortly after? His lawyer.
Exactly. Just 4 days later, his lawyer, Amansur Sayeh, who's 70 years old, he reportedly flew out too. Jakarta, Indonesia.
4 days apart. That timing.
Yeah.
It does suggest maybe less panic, more planned.
It certainly looks coordinated, doesn't it? You have these two key figures leaving the country within days of each other, and both have been fugitives ever since.
And meanwhile, reports keep surfacing about Adlan, enjoying life abroad, golf trips to Thailand, things like that.
Those are the reports, yes.
Gosh.
Which, again, just reinforces this narrative that he feels pretty safe, pretty insulated from the legal consequences back home. And that's politically damaging for Muhyiddin.
So let's pivot to the internal party stuff. Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia. Why did Saifuddin decide to make this public now? Usually these things are handled behind closed doors, right?
That's the standard playbook, yes. Keep it internal. But Saifuddin seemed to suggest the situation had become untenable.
How so?
Well, he acknowledged that, there's sympathy for Muhyiddin within the party. People understand it's a difficult family situation.
Sure, that makes sense.
But, Saifuddin argued, the party's reputation has to come first. His point was that this prolonged silence, it starts to make the party itself look like it's involved, or at least like it's trying to cover something up.
So sympathy runs out when the whole institution is at risk.
That seems to be his calculation. Political necessity, he implied, has to override personal sympathy at this point.
And there was apparently an immediate trigger, too, something about internal party communications.
Yes, this is where it gets really interesting. He said the final straw wasn't even directly about Adlan initially. It was about attacks happening within the party's own WhatsApp groups.
Attacks on who?
On the party's deputy president, Hamzah Zainuddin.
Hamza. Why was he being attacked?
Apparently, the accusation was that Hamza wasn't doing enough to defend Muhyiddin over this whole son-in-law issue.
Wow. So instead of addressing the external problem, the fugitive son-in-law, some people were turning inward, blaming the number two for not defending the number one.
Exactly. It's classic political infighting, isn't it? Deflecting blame. Saifuddin saw this happening, saw the leadership potentially starting to tear itself apart.
Over an issue that ultimately needs answers from the chairman himself.
Precisely. So, Saifuddin decided he had to step in, break the silence, stop the internal blame game, and put the focus back where he felt it belonged, on Muhyiddin needing to provide clarity.
It suggests a real breakdown of trust inside the party, doesn't it? If senior figures are attacking each other and another senior figure has to go public to demand answers from the top.
It signals a serious crisis of confidence, deep divisions. And that inevitably damages the party's credibility with the public. It's not just about Adlan anymore. It's about Muhyiddin's leadership and control over his own party.
Which brings us to the official actions. Because this isn't just political talk anymore, the government has actually done something concrete.
That's right. The Home Minister confirmed it recently. Mohammed Adlan's Malaysian passport has been revoked.
Revokes. That's a big move. What does that practically mean?
It means he can't legally travel using that passport. It makes international movement extremely difficult, if not impossible, unless he has other travel documents we don't know about.
And this wasn't just an administrative decision, was it?
No, the key thing here is why it was revoked. It was done following a formal request from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, the MACC.
So the MACC specifically asked for his passport to be canceled because of the ongoing investigation.
Correct. It confirms how seriously the MACC views this case. They're using the tools they have to try and restrict his movement and ultimately bring him back to face the charges.
It essentially flags him globally within the immigration systems, doesn't it?
It certainly complicates things for him immensely. It puts pressure on any country he might be in. It's a clear enforcement action by the Malaysian state.
So the authorities have acted. The MECC requested it, the Home Ministry actioned it, the passport is revoked. Which leads us to the question for you, listening. Does this decisive action by the government change things? Does the responsibility now completely shift to the politician, to Muhyiddin, to finally speak up about his family member? Or can political silence still work, even when the legal net is clearly tightening?
It really sharpens the whole dilemma, doesn't it? You have a senior party colleague demanding answers, and now you have the state itself taking significant action through the MACC and passport revocation.
The pressure must be immense now.
Absolutely. The core tension is stark. Party reputation and transparency versus, well, whatever reasons there are for the continued silence about a family member facing serious charges.
And the government's actions, the passport revocation, it shows the legal process isn't waiting for the political side to catch up.
Exactly. Judicial enforcement seems to be moving ahead decisively. The big question now is whether political accountability will follow suit. Will Muhyiddin let the MACC's actions dictate the narrative, or will he finally step forward himself?
It's a critical moment for him, and for Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia. We'll have to see if this public demand from Saifuddin, combined with the official action, finally forces his hand.
Indeed. It's a situation that's clearly reached a tipping point.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.